welcome back to my channel. Welcome to today's video. I am going to go through all of the books I read in November and all the books I read in December. So let's see, how many books did I read? I read a lot on my Kindle this last 2 months, so I don't have all the physical copies, but we're still going to talk about them. So November I read 9 books, which I feel like is one of my best months. I usually read like 5 to 7, I feel like. And then December I read 9 books again, so I feel like that was pretty good for me personally with my reading months. I've been trying to read more, but also I don't want to rush through books. I want to sit and enjoy them, and if I'm not enjoying them, I want to DNF them and maybe come back if I feel like it might have potential. Otherwise, donate and get rid of books, because I have a lot of books and not a lot of space, so I need to really prioritize my reading. So we're going to talk about November first. So the first book I read in November was Play Along by Liz Tomford. This is the 4th book in the Windy City series. I gave this one 4 stars. I love this one so much. It wasn't my favorite in the series, but I still love the story. I love the characters. I love the marriage of convenience trope, and Isaiah is just, I love him so much. I knew I was gonna love him when he's just like super outgoing and funny, and I loved his character from the beginning, but it wasn't giving me like 5-star feelings. I still liked The Right Move and caught up a little bit more. The Right Move is like my all-time favorite from that series. But regardless, this is still a really good book. I definitely recommend the series as a whole. You just have to get through the first one, which I know some people might like that one the best, but me personally, it was the worst in the series. But back to this one, I love it. I recommend it. They pretty much have to fake marry. Well, they end up getting married in Vegas on accident, and they have to pretend to stay married because otherwise she's going to lose her job. She works as like kind of the physical therapist. She's a doctor for the team, and if they find out they were lying, she's gonna get fired because she has a really terrible boss. So I like that part, how he will do anything for her and to save her job, and I love that. And then I read A Novel Love Story by Ashley Poston. This one was really good. I love Ashley Poston. She's one of my favorite authors, so I will always love her books. I gave this one 4 stars as well, and it wasn't my favorite Ashley Poston book, but I still love how she throws in magical realism, and it's unrealistic, but it doesn't feel unrealistic when you're reading it. Like, you feel like you're in that story with those characters, and her writing is something else. Like, she is just such a good writer and makes you feel all of the emotions that the main characters are feeling, and I love this one. She ends up driving to a cabin for a getaway, like a weekend getaway, and ends up, her car breaks down and she gets lost. She ends up in this small town, and it seems kind of familiar to her, but she can't place like where she knows it, and she comes to find out it is the story, like the setting of her favorite book, and she meets all the characters that she read about. I love that part. Like, if you think about how if you could go to your favorite story and be in that setting, like, that just sounds amazing, and meeting all your favorite characters, I loved it. And then I read Love Life Farms by B.K. Borison. This one I gave 3 stars. It wasn't my favorite book. I still had fun reading it, and it's a very good holiday romance, but it was just missing something for me personally. I feel like I went into it with high expectations and I was let down. I still do want to finish out the series, and it has really good potential to be a good series. I just feel like it was predictable and it felt kind of cheesy, but I will say I liked the main male character. She writes really good characters, and yeah, that's about all I have to say. It was good, but it wasn't like the best holiday romance I've read. And then I went and read 3 novellas from the Under the Mistletoe collection from Amazon. So A Cruel Winter with You, I gave this one 3 stars. This one was really good. It was one of my favorites from that little series. I don't know if it's because it was from Allie Hazelwood or what it was. She pretty much goes to his house and there's a really bad snowstorm, so she gets trapped there, and they kind of rehash out things that happened in like their past. It's just a short story, so there's not much to say about it. It was a decent book. It was a good holiday novella. I feel like holiday romances don't need to be super long, so I did like how they were all very short, but I just didn't connect with the characters that much. And then I read Merry Ever After by Tessa Bailey. This one was just bad. It was not good. I felt grossed out. I felt weirded out reading it. I don't even think I ended up finishing it. I skimmed through like the last half, and I know that's kind of mean, but the main male character grossed me out so bad. I don't know why. Like, all of her main male characters gross me out. They're all like, I don't know. I don't know what it is, but it was just not my cup of tea. And then Merriment and Mayhem by Alexandra Bellafleur. This one I enjoyed. So she pretty much has really bad luck. She starts her house on fire. She gets trapped on the roof. Like, she has really bad luck, and the fire department keeps having to come to save her. And there's one firefighter that likes to make fun of her, and their connection right away, you can feel it. And I liked it so much. It was a really good novella. I feel like after that I want to read more books from her because I've never read a book by her. And I liked her writing and her characters and just the storyline. It was really good. And then I read Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter. I was kind of not really putting this off, but I was a little nervous to start this because it is like her most popular book. I read Betting on You. It was the first book I read in 2024, and I absolutely loved it. It's still one of my favorite books, so I feel like I was kind of nervous to read this one, but I will say it lived up to the hype. I loved it. I gave it 5 stars. It still is not equal, or it doesn't pass Betting on You, but it's pretty close. I like the whole rom-com and how in the beginning of every chapter there is a little quote all about like a rom-com movie, a romance movie. After reading this, I want to go and watch all of like the famous classic rom-com movies because I really like that part. And her young adults always feel so much more than just a cheesy young adult. Like, I feel like if I think about reading a young adult book, I wouldn't think I would connect with it because I'm not a young adult, but I still really connect with her books. I feel like I connect more with her young adult than her adult romances. So it was really good. I liked it. And then I read My December Darling by Lauren Asher. This one I was kind of let down by it. I went in with very high expectations. I love Lauren Asher. She's not one of my favorites, but I still will read everything that she writes. This one I ended up giving 3 stars. It was good. I liked reading it during like the Christmas time. It was a good holiday novella, but it just kind of fell flat for me, and I was expecting more even though it is a novella, but it was a pretty long novella, so I just didn't really connect with the story or the characters as much as I wanted to. And then the last book I read this month was The Mistletoe Bet by Maren Moore. This one I also gave 3 stars. I feel like it should have been a little bit less, like a 2.75. I've heard really good things about this series as a whole, but again, it fell flat for me. I kind of found myself pushing myself to finish it, and I probably should have just DNF'd it and just went to something else because it just wasn't a book that I really enjoyed. And then into December, the first book I read was The Wingman by Stephanie Archer. This is the last book that she has out in the Vancouver Storm series. This one I gave 3 stars. It wasn't my favorite in that whole series. I liked Behind the Net and The Fake Out more than this one. This one's kind of like friends to lovers. She ends up breaking up with her ex-boyfriend, and he wants to like try to have a shot with her, but he doesn't want to ruin his friendship with her ex because they are friends. They end up living together too, so it's forced proximity, and she wants him to teach her to be kind of like careless about feelings, like able to do little short flings with other guys, and he agrees to help her because he wants to protect her. At the beginning, he is at a bar with her and she's on a date, and he is like just watching over her, and I thought that was really sweet. And they had this deal, if she ever needs to get out of a date, like she can send him a text and he will do anything to like get her out of it. And I just thought that was really cute. Hayden is definitely very sweet. Golden Retriever. He acts tougher and kind of like he doesn't care, but deep down he really does. And then I read Only Santa's in the Building by Alexis Daria. This is the last book in that Under the Mistletoe collection. This one I gave it 2 stars. It wasn't good. I don't think I ended up really finishing it. I kind of skimmed through, kind of like with Mary Ever After. I've just read better novellas. These ones are especially short, so it's hard to rate a novella when it's that short, but I couldn't even tell you what it's about. I don't even know. I'm not gonna try. A Risk Worth Taking is the next book I read by Jessica Joyce. I gave this one 3 stars. It's her little novella. I love Jessica Joyce. She's become one of my favorite new authors of 2024, and I will read anything that she writes. She just has very good writing and characters, and you really connect with them. And even though this one was shorter, I still really connected with the characters. I like their whole storyline, how they meet and they end up being kind of like snowed in together. She thinks that she's leaving at the end of their little weekend, but their romance kind of changes the story. And then I read another holiday novella. I read Spectacular by Stephanie Garber. I love this book so much. I love this series, these characters. I love Stephanie Garber. She is my all-time favorite author. I will read anything that she writes, especially if it has anything to do with the Caraval series and that world. I knew that I was going to love this book, and my only complaint is it was too short. I gave it 4 stars. Again, it's a novella, so it's not long enough for me to give it 5 stars. I don't know. I just loved it. I love being back in this world and seeing the characters again and just getting to see like kind of what they've been up to, and yeah, I liked it. And then I read The X-Files by Jessica Joyce. This is the last book I had to read by her because I've read You with a View and then her novella, and You with a View I gave 5 stars. This one I gave 4 stars. It wasn't as good to me personally as You with a View. You with a View was just, there was something special about it. Like everything was perfect for me, for like the perfect romance. This one, it was still really good. I liked the whole wedding aspect, and I liked Georgia's character. I also really liked Eli's character too. I feel like he was very misunderstood. Like he was going through a lot, and I liked when they could finally sit down and talk about their differences. I was kind of getting frustrated with the whole like miscommunication and her thinking that he only cares about work when he's on the phone. Like I wish he would have just told her right away that he wasn't on the phone with anything with work. Like I wish he would have just done that, because it would have been so much less like communication issues, and that was my main thing, like why I did not give it 5 stars. And then I did a reread. Actually there's 3 books in here that I did a reread for. So Belladonna was the first one. First time I read this, I gave it 3 stars. This time I'm giving it a 4 star. I really liked it. I liked the whole dark gothic fantasy. I really liked Death's character too. I feel like he was really funny, and like you would not expect Death to be funny. And I just like seeing like everything he did for Signa to make her life better. Like she had a very bad childhood, and he actually helped her out so much. When she finds out like how much he's done, I love that. I need to continue the series because that's why I reread it. I needed to refresh my mind like what happened, because I couldn't really remember even like the mystery aspect. I knew like what the mystery was, but I couldn't remember like what they solved. but I need to finish the series. That's like one of my main goals of 2025 is to finish series. So that is one of them I want to finish. And then I read The Most Wonderful Crime of the Year by Allie Carter. This one I gave 4 stars. I loved it. It was one of my favorites for like a holiday romance, and this was the first mystery romance I've read, and I didn't expect to really like it as much as I did. I heard really good things about it, so I kind of had higher expectations going into it. You're kind of solving the mystery with them and using clues, and they're going along using the author's books to try to solve like where she went, why she disappeared, and who's trying to kill her. I usually don't like mysteries because I get too scared, like I'm a little chicken, but I love this one. It kept me wanting to read more and more, and for that I gave it 4 stars because I was intrigued the whole time, and I love the main male character and honestly the main female character too. I like their characters together, kind of how they're super competitive too. Like I just really liked it. And then I did 2 rereads. The first one was When in Rome by Sarah Adams. This one was a 5-star, and it's still a 5-star. When I read this the first time, I just felt so happy reading it, and when I read it the second time, I still felt the same way. I love Noah Walker. He is one of my all-time favorite book boyfriends and main male characters. He is just so sweet. He tries to act so mean and tough, and like you can see right through him. He's just a sweetheart, and I love this book. She is a pop star, and he is a grumpy pie shop owner in a small town named Rome, Kentucky. She is a huge Audrey Hepburn fan, so she watches and she picks an Audrey Hepburn movie whenever she's feeling kind of sad and lonely. She ends up picking When in Rome, and she looks up, okay, where's the nearest town that has the word Rome in it? And she ends up driving to Rome, Kentucky, and gets kind of stuck in Noah's front yard, and they don't like each other at first, but slowly you can see that he has such a big weak spot for her, and their characters are just so good. All of her characters are so good. I love the sisters. I'm so excited for the next one, Beg, Borrow, or Steal. I am really excited to read that one. That's why I reread this, because I want to read Beg, Borrow, or Steal whenever that comes out. And then I reread Practice Makes Perfect. This is the second book in the Rome, Kentucky series. This is dealing with Will and Annie. Annie is Noah's younger sister. And the first time I read it, I gave it 5 stars. And the second time I read it, I also gave it 5 stars. It just feels like home to me. Like, it's so warm and comforting, and just a really good romance. The way that Sarah Adams writes, you really connect with all the characters, even the side characters. Like Mabel, I love Mabel so much, and it's just, her series are just, it's so good, especially this series. If you have not read the series, I highly recommend it. It is one of my all-time favorite romance series. So this one, Will is the bodyguard and Annie is the florist. Again, Noah's younger sister, and everyone kind of thinks of Annie as like this sweet goody two-shoes. So she asks Will to help her like find her perfect match. Like, she thinks that there's something missing from her life, and she thinks it is not having a soulmate in her life. And he gets asked to go back to Rome to provide security for Amelia, and he kind of like tutors her how to date, because she has not really dated. She hasn't really done anything, and he is going to help her because she's kind of awkward on dates. Like the first chapter, we see Annie on a date, and it's very uncomfortable and awkward. Like, she doesn't know what to talk about. She spills a drink on the date's shirt and pants, and you can tell like the date wants to just leave, and she feels very awkward, and he helps her like figure it out. So those are all the books I read in November and December. I hope you guys enjoy this video. Please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you're not already, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!